All right, so I've come across this story. I think you might find it interesting. Furious GB News racism row erupts as Patrick Christys shuts down guests with 4 words. Should be good, right? GB News presenter Patrick Christys was left up in arms after one of his guests accused him of doing the racism after a heated debate about the ongoing migrant crisis. Let's have a look at this then.
If raising legitimate concerns about thousands and thousands of unchecked foreign males illegally entering our country makes me far right, then so be it.
2 minutes. Nah, there's a longer one somewhere. Let's find that. There we go. Let's check this out instead. All right, so looking at these guests, I have no idea why he could possibly get upset by anything these guys might have to say, but let's check it out.
Are you honestly telling me that if, I don't know exactly where you live, but if...
I live in Richmond.
The house next to you...
Richmond.
Or flat next to you, whatever it is, was...
I don't know anything about Richmond. Is it a nice place? I have no idea. Look at her face.
Sold, and then someone bought it, maybe the government, and turned it into a 5-bedroom HMO and put a load of new arrivals in there. And then outside on your street or at your local park, there were tents full of people who just arrived in this country, that wouldn't bother you.
Do you know what? If people are being criminal and they're doing activities that are criminal,
That wasn't the question. He asked you specifically if 5 boat bastards rocked up in the house next door, would you be happy about that?
would bother me more. You cannot just criminalize everyone just because they look different from you or they speak a different language and you have a perception and assumption which just, brushes everyone in the same sort of way, just from a few reasons. That is just dehumanizing everyone.
I tell you why it wouldn't bother me, because it's a matter of scale.
What's dehumanizing everyone? The question? Would you be unhappy with 5 boat bastards moving into the house next door? That was a simple question. How is that dehumanizing anyone? That's a malicious altruism. There you go, guys. She's deflecting the question, making you feel guilty for even asking it. After all, it's only your country.
If you bring in a certain amount of immigrants that we can deal with, give them places to live, get them work, get them their children through school, absolutely fine.
Why? Sorry, why? Why should we do that? Why should we be allowing any immigrants in this country whatsoever? And I'm not surprised that this gentleman is advocating for more immigration. Why can't we just have 3 Englishmen on this couch talking about how to save the country instead of how to fill it with people that fucking hate us?
Problem lies is when you bring in so many that you can't administer your country.
That's government problem.
What about the other poor people who were born here?
Well, this is it.
You need to work with them too.
Fundamentally, I'll put this here. Fundamentally, I personally feel that people who are British, i.e. born here, who have chosen to live somewhere, a particular part of the country, of their own free will, who've worked hard, paid their taxes and abided by the law, do have a right to be concerned about whether or not local properties in the area they've chosen to live in, because they like that area, are going to end up accommodating, say, like 5 different Somali families or something like that.
It's a very nice way of saying, this is our country and we have a right to defend it.
I think they've got a right to be worried about that.
Why should it matter where they come from, who's living next to you? We are...
Okay, let's analyse that statement alone. What does it matter where they come from or who lives next to you? So if you... these are the 2 polar extremes that I can initially think of. You've got 5 people moving in on one side of the house, and they're all Scandinavian, blonde, 19-year-old girls that are super fucking horny all the time. And on the other side, you've got 5 incredibly burly men from, like, the rape capital of Nigeria. Whatever, right? Which one would you want living next to you? Because, of course, it doesn't matter who they are or where they're from, according to this weird logic, but sure. Okay. Let's go.
In a society that it shouldn't matter unless, of course, they're doing something illegal and wrong. Why are you picking on certain groups and making it a problem?
Because of patterns. Because certain groups keep showing us certain patterns. Like Pakistanis keep raping our kids. It does really matter where you're from.
like that.
So you don't. I'm not making it a problem.
Yes, you are.
I'm saying that
That's
I
what
think
gives
people
the
Well, if you
the
let me
riots
explain
are
myself, and I
happening.
happily will. I think that people have a right to want to protect the culture and the identity of where they currently live.
Culture now, so that's going to become
It's always
law.
been culture.
What does that mean, anyways? We are all different. We all have differences. We're sitting here and we're all three different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they look like they violently disagree with each other. It's not a good advert of multiculturalism, you know. It's not up, is it? Mental. I do like these videos because, I mean, obviously it's rage bait. I get it, right? I get it. But it feels good sometimes just to let it out, you know, just to see how crazy these people are. It's such a good red pill for like people that haven't seen this before as well, because they'll be looking at this video going, what the hell is this? Is this actually real? Do people think these things? And they get a taste of that anti-Britishness, that spicy anti-Britishness.
Absolutely.
So what are you talking about? You are now picking about certain people from certain groups, and you are actually now demonising them because that's a problem. I do care.
British people
I care.
saying
Of
that they
course
have a
I
right to
do.
want their own country.
What, just by their own people? Is that what you're saying?
To be a more...
Yes, just like wherever you're from, Pakistan or something, there's not many other cultures living in that monotheic culture, right? I'm assuming. There's not like a Chinese town or an English quarter. It's pretty much just Pakistan for Pakistanis, right? Or wherever you're from, right? You get the point. But yes, it's our country. It should be our culture. We should decide who comes here, who stays, and who is allowed to say what if you're not English or you're not British, whatever.
Homogenous and less kind of breakneck speed, rapid demographic change. That might not bother you, but it does bother some people, and they have a right to be.
Well, that's not British values to have that kind of problem when you have that kind of like association.
Every time, guys, I'm sorry I keep stopping it, but like, listen to what she's saying. We're getting lectured on British values by a foreigner. And she's using your own values, the ones that actually kept our society really safe and homogenous, and it was lovely for a while, right? Those values that no longer can exist in this incredibly unsafe country, right? She's using those values to try and make you feel bad so that you shut the fuck up and accept more immigrants. It's mental. It's so blindingly obvious. I mean, it's like the kind of tactics a school child would use. It's reverse psychology. I haven't said that in years. Stop using reverse psychology on me.
Association with colour and caste and all of that kind of stuff.
God, I've never mentioned colour or caste once. I've mentioned culture. There are loads of different aspects to that.
There's so many different cultures within the British nationals. Do you know what I mean? You go to Wales, you go to Scotland, you go to up north, you go mid.
Or did she just separate herself? Did she just say that the British are real and that we have our own cultures and identities and they're real and they're solid and they are actually a thing? That's interesting, isn't it, guys? Apparently, we do have our own culture when it suits them, when they can demonize it.
It's all about that.
Okay, what I will say about that is I think it's exactly that kind of attitude that leads to people getting incredibly angry, and it doesn't help.
No, it's your attitude that leads to people that are jumping on the bandwagon and causing these riots.
Hold on.
Absolute rubbish.
Let's march through the middle of this.
We're the ones that caused the riots. It's that attitude that caused the riots. It wasn't the poor little children that got murdered by a deranged foreigner. No, it's our fault. Somehow, the murder of our own children is our fault.
This, right? There's two elements that concern me. One is purely about numbers and how we administer the country and how we look after the poor people we already have here.
Exactly.
Britain is full of poor people, and there's no doubt that if you have this level of immigration...
Guys, I'm going to say it. If we just got rid of the immigrants, Britain would not be a poor country. We would be a very rich country again with disposable income. Our taxes would be spent on things that actually help us instead of just spaffing it up the walls on migrants that then go on into the streets and commit the acts that, you know, has made me this kind of deranged YouTuber. In fact, I should thank them all, right? I should go out and thank them. But like, hey, thank you for like doing all those unspeakable acts, because without that, I wouldn't be a completely deranged YouTuber. So thank you very much for that one.
You're going to have to juggle the queue around, and that means people don't perceive it as fair. That's got nothing to do with colour or caste.
Well, you mentioned it. You mentioned Somali.
Colour or caste.
You mentioned Somali people.
I'm going to move on from this because we do have the rest of the show. But I do suggest that you listen more closely in future and don't put words in people's mouths in an attempt to make them seem racist when they're not. Because I tell you what, it brushes off me. It brushes off me. I don't care about being called those things because I'm not. So I'm not going to have it on my show. Anyway.
I don't care if you are. That's the thing, man. You've just got to just release all that shit. I do commend him, but I don't think he's quite shed that veneer of self-conscious guilt that they kind of capture you with. I don't think he's quite there yet. I think he's close. But he's not quite as far along as maybe me and you. But give them time. I think this is a really good sign, guys. If we're seeing this kind of stuff on TV, normal TV, that means that this is really starting to gain momentum and the right people are saying the right things. Because, guys, while they might preach peace and tolerance and all this bullshit, what they actually think is the opposite. And it's obvious when you ask them questions that are directly responding to this. So if you were to ask them about, what do they think about white people, which they will cloak in a different terminology, they will use whiteness or white supremacy or something like this. This is what they really think. These wonderful, peaceful immigrants that come into our countries. This is what they think.
So how does society start, particularly society in the United States, start to address that?
Okay, so we need to understand that you cannot rehabilitate white supremacy. You need to eradicate it and, quite frankly, wipe the ideology of white supremacy off the face of the earth. And you mentioned the United States. Okay, it exists here in the United Kingdom. Please, let me name some names. Joy Gardner, who was killed in 1993. We've got Sean Riggs in 2018, Rashawn and Charles in 2017. Think about Jimmy Mubenga, Sarah Reid.
Nah, I don't want to think about Jimmy Mubenga, whatever he's called. Just replace supremacy with people, and now you're on the same wavelength as her. And everyone knows that Nigel Farage is not the man to solve this problem, guys. He's on record multiple times saying he does not care about the replacement of the indigenous people of this country, because as long as they remain British by their culture, they're just as British as you. That's a terrible, terrible idea. I don't think that will work as a country. I don't think the country will survive that. And that's why I would rather support someone who says it like it is, someone who's actually got balls and has a backbone and is patriotic and isn't afraid to say it, someone like Rupert Law. I've been called Britain's most extreme MP by Hope Not Hate, a nutter by Nigel Farage for my stance on illegal migrant mass deportations, a racist by Emily Maitlis over my views on the Pakistani rape gangs. I am honestly so past caring what these people think about me. Good. I want every illegal migrant in the country to be deported. If that makes me a nutter, then so be it. Pass me the pistachios, Nigel. I want Pakistani rapists removed to Pakistan. Not just the rapists, but the foreign family members who knew and failed to act. They have to go too. All of them. Does that make me a racist? Who knows anymore? It does not matter. None of these names matter. The vast majority of Brits agree with me. All illegal migrants deported, foreign rapists removed. If that's you, I hope you will consider joining our Restore Britain movement, where we will unapologetically make those arguments to the British people. Extreme? A nutter? A racist? Oh, well, honestly, I just don't care. I say let's go for the full house and get called a scumbag by James O'Brien. There we go. More and more people are seeing this, guys. The mask is slipping all the time, and I'm happy because I've been seeing this for ages. And number one, it's never reported about, so I can understand how people are really allergic to actually seeing this for the first time, because it's a shock to the system when they start seeing that actually the people coming here don't like you very much. They want your country. And once you realise that, it starts to become a little bit easier to ignore them when they call you a racist. I'll see you later, guys. Take it easy.